You're making more money than your parents did at your age. Adjusted for inflation, your salary is higher, your job is better, your education costs more, and somehow you're still broke at the end of every month. That's not a personal failure, that's a structural outcome. Most people think living paycheck to paycheck is about discipline. They think the problem is spending too much on coffee, eating out too often, or lacking willpower. But millions of people with high incomes, advanced degrees, and genuine self-control are locked in the same cycle, which means the explanation you've been given is incomplete. This video explains what actually keeps you trapped, not what you're doing wrong, but how the environment you're operating in has been designed to extract wealth faster than you can accumulate it. The standard advice is clean and logical. Track your expenses, cut unnecessary spending, build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months, automate your savings, pay yourself first, live below your means. It's repeated everywhere because it's mathematically correct. If you spend less than you earn and invest the difference consistently, compound growth takes over and wealth accumulates. That's not theory, that's arithmetic. Financial advisors have said some version of this for decades because in a controlled environment, it works. The framework assumes you're making rational decisions in isolation. It assumes your defaults are neutral, that your attention isn't being systematically harvested, that the friction between wanting something and buying it still exists. It treats your financial life like a spreadsheet where you control every variable, and for a brief period in history that was closer to true. Here's the problem. The advice hasn't changed, but the environment has. Spending used to require action. You had to leave your house, drive to a store, pick up an item, stand in line, hand over cash, feel the money leave your possession. Every one of those steps created friction, and friction gave your prefrontal cortex time to intervene, time to evaluate whether you actually needed what you were about to buy. But that structure has been systematically dismantled. Now, you don't leave your house, you don't handle money, you tap a screen and dopamine fires before your rational brain even loads. The gap between impulse and transaction has collapsed to milliseconds, and the people who collapsed it did not do so by accident. They studied how decision fatigue works, how convenience overrides intention, how variable rewards create compulsion, and they built an extraction system optimized around it. Let's go deeper. Your brain operates on a reward prediction loop. When you anticipate something pleasurable, dopamine releases. When the reward arrives, the loop closes and the behavior gets reinforced. That's how habits form. The issue is that modern spending has been re-engineered to hijack that loop. Friction used to slow the process down. Driving to the store took 15 minutes, finding parking took 5, walking through aisles took 10. By the time you reached the register, you'd had 30 minutes to reconsider. Most impulse purchases died in that window, but now the window is gone. You see an ad while scrolling. It's algorithmically targeted based on your search history, your location, your recent purchases, and your emotional state inferred from engagement patterns. You tap once, Face ID confirms, the item ships. Dopamine releases instantly. The entire loop completes in under 10 seconds, and your conscious decision-making system never fully engaged. And it's not just speed, it's variability. Slot machines are addictive because the reward is unpredictable. You don't know if the next pull wins, so you keep pulling. Your phone operates identically. You don't know if the next scroll shows you something you want, so you keep scrolling. And when the algorithm surfaces exactly what you were thinking about, it doesn't feel like marketing, it feels like synchronicity. Now layer in subscriptions. $15 a month sounds trivial, it's less than takeout. So you subscribe, then another service offers a trial, then another platform has the show everyone's talking about. None of them hurt individually, but you're not making one decision, you're making 40 decisions that renew automatically, invisibly, forever. You only notice when your account is empty and you can't identify why. Then there's lifestyle creep. When your income rises, your expenses rise to meet it, not because you're reckless, but because your reference group is rising with you. Your colleagues move to better neighborhoods, your friends eat at nicer restaurants. What was a luxury 2 years ago becomes the baseline. You're not keeping up with strangers, you're keeping up with the people whose approval you need to maintain status, and they're trapped in the same cycle. This compounds silently over years. You earn 30% more than you did 3 years ago, but your savings rate hasn't changed. You're not buying foolish things, you're buying normal things. A reliable car, a safe apartment, clothes appropriate for your profession, groceries from the store everyone shops at. But normal is expensive now, and normal expands. The apartment that felt excessive 5 years ago is standard today, not because you're entitled, but because the economy is structured to continually redefine adequacy upward. Social proof, algorithmic reinforcement, influencer culture, it all flows in one direction. Spend now, optimize later. Everyone else is doing it. The disciplined people are not losing because they lack intelligence or self-control. They're losing because they're fighting an opponent they can't see. They're trying to budget their way out of an environment specifically designed to prevent accumulation. You cannot willpower your way out of a systemic extraction problem, and the longer you try, the more exhausted you become. So here's the reframe. You are not failing at self-control, you are succeeding at adaptation. Your behavior is a completely rational response to the incentive structure surrounding you. The solution is not trying harder within the existing system, it's redesigning the system you operate in. Wealth is not built by resisting temptation daily, it's built by constructing an environment where resistance is unnecessary, where saving is the default and spending requires effort, where friction protects you instead of being weaponized against you. The people who escape this cycle do not have superior willpower, they have superior architecture. They automate wealth building the moment income arrives, not at the end of the month after everything else has been spent. They delete the apps that make spending frictionless. They set structural rules that require a waiting period before any non-essential purchase. They treat their attention as an asset under siege and stop giving it away for free. This is not deprivation, this is design. You are not restricting yourself, you are building a structure where your future self wins by default, regardless of how you feel on any given Tuesday. 3 structural changes. First, automate transfers to savings and investment accounts the day income deposits. Make accumulation the default. Spending becomes what's left over, not the other way around. Second, reintroduce friction. Delete stored payment information. Remove one-click purchasing. Require yourself to manually enter card details for every transaction. It sounds small, it eliminates 70% of impulse purchases. Third, treat subscriptions like open wounds. If you would not subscribe to it today, knowing what you know now, cancel it today. $10 a month is $120 a year. Over a decade, that's compounding you'll never recover. Money is not moral, it's mechanical. It follows incentives and structures. The people who build wealth are not more virtuous, they simply understand the mechanics and build around them. This channel exists to show you how systems actually function, not to motivate you, not to sell you a course, just to explain what's happening beneath the surface so you can make better decisions. If that's valuable, subscribe, there's more coming.